Yeah. So
Here comes Sam.
is there is there a lot happening in the synagogue?
Yeah, at the end of August and into September, the holidays are very early this year, and I'm leading a choir and a klezmer band. So we have
Ah,
rehearsals and yeah.
great.
Yep.
Sounds awesome. Mm, Yeah, last Sunday was the first time I've been able to join here in quite a few months.
Hmm.
So glad to see you guys still keep it going.
Yeah. Sam says he needs 2 minutes. Yep. So one thing I've been getting involved in recently, um, do you know Frode Hegland? He has
I've heard the name.
You've heard of it? Yeah,
Yeah.
he runs a Future of Text every November. It's a symposium, and he's been exploring text in spatial computing. So he has an Apple Vision Pro headset, and he's now able to vibe code his own apps, and he's really
Ah,
getting into it. So
really?
yeah. um, so he wrote these programs called Reader and Author. They're apps on the App Store, and it has features like to help authors focus on what they're writing and to do a concept mapping within the document. Yeah.
Ah,
So he's trying
okay.
to
Is it
extend this now into 3D.
like a 3D text space kind of?
It's a whole
Or
spatial immersive computing environment that he's envisioning right now.
ah,
So I'm in some
yeah,
meetings that he has on Mondays about that. And we've attracted Heiner's interest in that too. So let's say hello to Sam.
yeah.
Yep.
Hello, Sam.
I can't hear you. You're you're not muted, but we can't hear you for some Bluetoothy reason, probably.
Yeah,
Okay, let me try this
That's
microphone.
better. Yes, that
Okay,
microphone
there
now
is
you
let
better.
me
are.
switch back to the testing.
Yep. That's
Testing,
It's
lower.
a
testing,
lot.
testing. Okay,
Yeah, it's
that
a
seems to
little
work
lower,
now, right?
but seems to work now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey,
Mm.
so notice in advance, I will be attending a class in 1 hour.
Okay.
It's a class that Kayla told me about, and it's called Building Solidarity with Indigenous Peoples.
Nice.
It's a 3 week class today, next Sunday, and the following Sunday for two
Hmm.
hours. So just briefly for 3 weeks, the Sunday session, I will have to jump off within 1 hour.
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'll need my Zoom to attend that class.
That's okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this will be premium time. We won't be able to take the entire 2 hours or 90 minutes. So I'll keep my ranting to a minimum.
All
Mm.
right. We'll solve all the world's
uh,
problems in an hour.
yeah.
It'll take
Try
three
to
hours.
compress it. Compress it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so I understand you guys are talking about Frode and Eric
Yeah.
collaborating.
Yeah, I've been involved in his meetings, so I mean, he's going his direction with the 3D spatial stuff, but I'm thinking about the back end of that. What really should be running to power those spatial visualizations. And I'm looking at Datomic now. Interest, thanks to Sam. I'm thinking in that direction because of the time travel and the automatic indexing that it has. So, and what I'd like to do is put Ted Nelson's ZZ structures into Datomic and have it navigate through that, because then you could have multiple dimensions of your data available and based on what you want to view on the axes or in a certain, you could design your own views.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warning to Glenn. This could geek out really fast. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, but this is interesting stuff. I love this
Okay.
topic.
So if I
So
riff on
yeah.
what Eric
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
just said, the way Datomic is structured in the back end, it doesn't matter whether you think of a dimension now or a year from now, it's still there, automatic, ready to be used, the way it exists today, the minute you build it. Okay. So if you think of a way to use it in the future that you're not using it right now, the data structure doesn't really need to change other than naming it. Okay. The architecture underneath is all the same. That's what I love about Datomic. I
Mhm.
wish I was
Is
better
this
at
like
it.
a hyper? Is this a hypergraph kind of thing, or
It's the hyperest of hypergraphs. Okay. In other
okay?
words, it's hypergraph as you need it. It's basically lazy. Okay. So anything you can imagine, you can specify, and the data structure just automatically supports it from the start.
Yeah, it's like a
Anyway,
key value store. You're really, you don't have to define your schema in advance.
that's
It's
right.
built on the fly, and because the way it's indexed and the intelligence of closure, it's
Yeah.
very compact and performant.
Glenn, are you familiar with what they used to call semantic web? Did
I've
you
heard a
use
little
it?
bit about it. It's about bi-directional linking and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, I
Or
consider that incidental. Really, what was foundational was the notion of a triple, that you had an entity, the entity has an attribute, and the attribute has a value. So entity, attribute, value, okay? Like Glenn, height, 6 feet or 180 centimeters, okay? It's that simple, okay? So the cool thing is Datomic adds two additional columns, if you will, fields, okay? So it has a quintuple. You don't need to know what the other two are, okay? But with that comes the ultimate flexibility in how you build data structures, okay? That's it. You can build relational, you can build hierarchical, you can build a network, you can build anything on top of a five tuple, really a triple with two meta values. That's it. That's all you need to know. And it's completely flexible. So that's what I love about it. And I put that bug in Eric's ear, and
Hmm.
Eric has a fertile mind, so it actually grew there. It's like a weed that's been, in Eric's mind for a while, and
Yeah.
now it's starting to like pop its head above ground.
Yeah, you got me into Engelbart's work as well, and it's
Yep.
all germinating now. So the use case that I'm playing with is how to organize all my music in terms of like what I perform, the artifacts of a performance, all the rehearsals. How do I track all that over time? So like maybe I want to go back to 2001 when I did a performance before the World Trade Center came down. How was my mood then compared to after the pandemic and you know.
Yep.
So if it could track all those artifacts and bring them up when I want to, and like I'm doing a bar mitzvah this weekend, so I know the songs I have, but maybe I want to hear how a song I played 2 months ago or 2 years ago. And, yeah, see how I've changed, how my music style has improved or not improved.
And one more example, if Eric goes to YouTube, finds one, two, or even three performances of that work, he can
Mhm.
associate it with what is already in his database, and the existing data doesn't even need to change. It's just
Yeah,
additional information.
right. And then the manuscripts. See, looking, digging into all that, we have hundreds of years of. Uh, I mean, see, everything's got to go digital somehow. All this
Mm.
paper and yeah,
Yeah,
but
What
that's
I
really the
started
key.
doing
yeah,
in the last few months, I've started using Obsidian a
yep,
lot.
me too.
And the thing I like about Obsidian is you can it's based on markdown files, so
Yep.
it's basically very good for text, but it's very easy to link very fast in all directions. And then I'm using Codex and Claude Code as the local agents, and kind of have them collaborating a bit, and that system really grows incredibly fast. But I don't know if Datum is a little bit similar, or maybe you can do somewhat similar things. Of course, I haven't used Obsidian. Um, there's much more you can do with it, I'm sure, than what I've done, but
I'm
at
glad
least
you're
it's a
honest.
hypergraph structure. That's very
Yeah.
useful, the hypergraph, because you can just link things in all directions, and it's so much easier than having files and folders, I think.
So
Mm.
personally, I do all of that in workflowy. I tried Obsidian. I really tried two, three, four times. It was too complicated for me. My mind is simpler than that. So I use workflowy and I can link anything to anything. So that's what I do for now. Eventually, I might figure out Obsidian. I continue to explore with it. The one thing that I have used as kind of a Dropbox replacement that's open source and personal is Joplin. Have you heard of Joplin, either of you?
No.
Heard about it, yeah.
Joplin. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's basically you can put anything into a repository, and if you have multiple devices, you can sync your repository across all those devices. And there's multiple different, hub technologies you can use, Dropbox or personal server or whatever you can use. So for now, when I started using Dropbox, and that way all my files are available on any of my devices if I've got Joplin installed on them. But I'm considering transitioning everything to GitHub as the central repo. Anyway,
So you say
welcome, Kayla.
GitHub and Kayla comes in. Hi, Kayla.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll have Kayla
What I
explain.
miss?
Speak out.
Yeah, you have an opportunity to explain how I use GitHub as my central repository for everything.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Kayla, I explained to Glenn and to Eric that I will be leaving, probably you also,
Yes.
at the top of the hour in 46 minutes. And I told them that we were both taking this class called what was it called? Building Solidarity with Indigenous Communities.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't
Wonderful.
wait.
And by the way, I'm
Sounds great.
ADHD and I'm OCD. So did you notice they spell solidarity wrong?
I don't know. I haven't looked at
The I
it.
is missing. So that's why I call it
Oh,
solidarity, not solidarity.
clearly a human did that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good. It's not an AI that did that. Right. Anyway, so what were we talking about? We were talking about Eric working with Froda recently, and we were talking about how Eric wants to build some new capability and was mentioning his interest in Datomic. And of course, my ears perked up because I was one who planted that little seed in Eric's fertile mind
Right.
many
But
months or possibly a few
another,
years ago.
yep, another connection comes from Barry Court because he worked on multi-user dungeons. Well, it turns out that if you take away all the flashy Apple Vision stuff, a MUD is a multiplayer environment where people are doing the actions that they would do in a 3D space. So if you could figure out how to get people to collaborate together in a text environment, well, you could eventually just put a nice fancy graphics on top of that in 3D. So that's an interesting possibility. Just what Barry worked out was how do you get the kids in schools to be excited about building their own things, and yeah, also Jack, and he had like a covenant. The rules, he established the community rules, and he had the moderation. So because one of the big things about these gaming environments is that it attracts the people who just want to make money off of it or put uh, their own spin on it. Yeah, so if I could draw on what Barry brought in to build community, and uh, yeah, then it has some potential, whatever becomes of it. But it also lets me test it with text. I don't need a 3D headset to test the core backend engine.
Yeah. I wonder if all of this might converge someday, where you have something that can be visual, text-based, that can be a note app, that can be a social network, that can be AI environment, gaming kind of environment.
Yeah,
Well, whether we may be kind of moving towards some conversion of all those things.
I think Ted Nelson had that vision, a docuverse. And
Mm.
if you think about, well, what could Zoom really become if we were able to meet in 3D in our living rooms and collaborate with each other virtually?
The
It's,
holodeck.
yeah, right, a holodeck. Yeah, like Star Trek. So, yeah, I'm including ideas from Star Trek. Like, did you know the L cars panels that
Well, for the record, the holodeck idea even precedes Star Trek in
I'm
science
sure.
fiction. Okay,
Yeah.
so for the record,
Okay, cool. Yeah, but see, with the panels on the Star Trek consoles, they were fully customizable based on the user and their role and the situation that the ship was in. So
Ah,
it's if you have a smart backend, some AI figuring out what should the user interface look like for this person based on what it knows about that person, you could have really smart UI as well.
right. So each person can have their own UI in a way then.
Well,
Or
yeah, well, if you isolate the functionality in behind the command layer and presentation is built by the user themselves, then
right,
you
right.
have connections that you build a system, you're building a starship.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this has been on my mind for many years as well. I think many
Mhm.
people are thinking about this sort of having an information space that's almost like a physical space you can move through. And
Mhm.
by the way, last week I joined this new thing on Thursday with Fleming Funch, Talking Stick, and he had made this program where instead of Zoom, there was a ring, and you could see the faces of
Mm.
the participants in a ring. And this was a really different experience compared to Zoom, because you really felt the space in a very, very different way.
Nice.
And I think maybe the same goes for kind of a text environment generally as well, that just the visual geometry of it makes a big difference for sort of the experience and how it works. Mm.
I was running these ideas through AI and it made the point if you could build it with text, it's the same principle of gestures in 3D. You just have to interpret the gestures as commands.
Yeah, right.
by the way, Glenn, you mentioned navigating through knowledge. 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago, I forget exactly how long. Eric, I think you were in a session with Heiner and me, right?
Yep.
Where we were talking about the science fiction authors who first described that kind of experience. The two that I associate with that are A.E. Van Vogt and Werner Vinge. I'm not sure which of those guys. And maybe there's another third guy that his name reminds me of Andy Warhol, but I don't think it's Andy Warhol. Anyway, one of those three was the first to describe this notion of flying through knowledge, and knowledge being these big buildings and skyscrapers, and you have these little avenues and alleyways and 3D, go up and down through all of this knowledge structure. Anyway, so I thought I'd bring that into conversation, which then
Mhm.
associated with what you just said about a minute or two ago, Glenn.
Well, see, that should all be connected together somehow. These science fiction authors, Star Trek, and our ideas,
Mm,
so we could trace the patterns back. And with Datomic, you do your time travel, and you
That's
see what.
right.
Yep.
Now imagine each of our brains having a version of this, a subset of
Mhm.
this. Imagine being able to take one of my nodes and connecting it to one of your nodes in your brain. And now imagine
mm.
Glenn navigating through that, or Kayla navigating through that, or Kayla saying, "Ooh, I don't want to touch that one over there."
Yeah, I
So
think we want
all of
some
these,
privacy in our brains too.
exactly, security, access, navigability, findability, relevance, sentiment analysis, depth of detail, perspective, frame of mind, all of that comes into play. And this is exciting because I think
Yep.
Datomic at the bottom handles
Hmm.
all that. And then because you've got so much developed on browser technology with CSS and JS, you got all the flexibility you want for presentation
Yeah, you just
now.
need to send JSON to the headset and have it interpret it and
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me be a
It's
little
such
bit
a
more.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just saying it's such an intuitive thing, really, that we would want our information environment to be similar to the physical environment and have a three-dimensional structure to it. Because the brain is already like that. I mean, it's different brain cells that have connections between them, and it would just feel a lot more natural that our information systems were also three-dimensional and that you could travel through them.
Yeah,
And
we evolved for 3D.
yeah, we did. So
And
in a way,
I'm
it's weird.
recognizing that
So,
memory is connected to spatial places. As I walk
absolutely.
and I'm listening to something, I will associate it with a place, and you can
Yeah,
remember a lot that way.
But it's also 4, 5, or 6D. How many
Mhm.
memories are associated with smells?
Oh,
How many
yes,
memories are associated with sound?
exactly.
How many memories are associated with feel? Right?
Hmm.
So
mm,
there's at least three more dimensions right there, in addition to the physical three. And the fourth, by the way, which is time. So you got at least what, 4 + 3? That's at least seven right there. And we haven't even
mm.
gotten started yet. So imagine being able to map all of these back and forth and transform back and forth. Man, it's
Yeah.
we can all imagine this, right? It's just now building it is the SMOP. You guys remember what SMOP means? As a software
No.
guy, it's just
SM.
Smart.
it's a simple matter of programming.
Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And these days it's prompting.
Yeah. And this is the big difference now, isn't it? That so many of these things before were sort of these ideas wouldn't really ever get around to it, but
Hmm.
now it's so much easier. Like for example, I've been making a film, so I actually finished it yesterday. It was just a trailer, but it was a submission to the Future Vision X Prize, and I really wanted to make a submission, and I've never made a film like that before, and I could do it together with Claude Code and Codex, and it was quite some work. I have no idea how it's gonna land, but at least I was able to make a 3-minute film, and personally, I liked it, and it's a film that I had in my mind 15 years ago, and
Mm.
I would never have made it if it hadn't been for having these agents, and they basically do the whole thing. I could have done much more out of it, of course, but I think it's a different world now, because now if you have an
Yep.
idea, you can actually get it moving much
Yep.
faster. That's a
So
very different thing.
Heiner and I have been using Notebook LM's explainer videos because it'll generate a 10-minute video about any complicated topic that you upload to it. And that's how
Mm.
we can get into each other's minds and understand each other better. Because and it was even able to translate German for me. That was pretty cool.
Ah, German, yeah.
Yeah, he's having meetings with people and they're in German.
The multimodal thing is interesting too, because I'm
Yes.
beginning to have conversations in Norwegian now with ChatGPT, the voice, and it's actually pretty good.
Hmm.
And it's just in the last month I've started actually having long conversations in Norwegian with it, and it's a little weird because like if you play dumb, it's sort of dumb, but if you sort of go on a certain level,
Hmm.
it kind of follows you where you go.
Yep.
So it's really impressive how much better it is
Yep.
right now compared to just half a year ago.
Yes, so my approach is really to flesh out the ideas with the AI and have it tell me what I'm missing, what technical things what are the considerations, where are the trade-offs. So I'm exploring the problem space that way. I'm not having it code other than just very simple things for testing. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, great for ideation, just sort
Hmm.
of thinking.
Yep.
That they're wonderful for that. Mm.
And as a result of this, I'm seeing the world differently. Like just as I walk, I'm seeing spatial computing everywhere. and
Ah, yeah.
and
Are you seeing any flock cameras?
oh yeah, I hear all about it. Yeah.
Mm.
But for Kayla, dance and choreography are also very important in this space. Like how people arrange just physical arrangements of things in 3D. It's dance. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Everything we do in 3D is kind of a dance.
Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, I'm so excited by all of these things kind of coming together. It kind of feels like it's all coming together, like
Mhm.
information, movement, physical space, mental space, um, text, images, sound. It's like all of these modalities
Mhm.
are slowly kind of gathering in a kind of a hyperspace, which can be accessed through different programs. But
Yeah, there's the very early stages of this possibilities. So yeah, we have to really think about communicating the vision for this properly to the right people. And yep, go ahead, Sam.
Question. Each of us has now had at least an opportunity to work with AI for the last 2 or 3 years. And the capabilities, are just astonishing how quickly they evolve and magnify our abilities to do things. Compared to 3 years ago, are you more or less afraid that AI is going to make hay out of our human race? In other words, is your comfort higher or is your fear of AI higher? Over.
The fear is that the people who don't know better are going to become victims of AI, and it's happening already. So it's a
mm,
really a balancing act. Like, will enough good things come out, or is it going to be another social media disaster for the next generation?
yeah, that's really my sentiment exactly too. It's a very strange experience for me because when I work with AI, I will. It can be different, but sometimes it can be really, really rewarding, especially when it's like these breakthrough moments. It's like deeply inspiring, very creative. Then I'll go on Facebook and I read some things people have said about AI, and it's almost like it's a completely different universe. And even when I'm hearing tech leaders speak about AI, it feels as if they live on a different planet compared to me, because for me, the AI is about what's happening between me and the thing. It's an interactive sort of a thing, right? And it just, for me, that feels so obvious. But then I read things that are being said which seem somehow to operate from an idea of some kind of intelligence in a box. I don't know how else to say it. And I have no, I can't understand it. It just makes no sense in my brain to think like that. But I just notice somehow that seems to be a very common way of thinking about it. So that's also sort of my fear. Like I just think there's so many, the way of thinking about AI, at least in popular culture, just seems so incredibly strange to me. Like I don't know how else to put it. Do you guys sort of understand what I'm saying here? It's like,
Yep.
here I'm experiencing one world, and then I hear people talk about this, and it's like they're living in a whole other solar system.
Yeah, I would have to agree with the both of you. My concern is, how it's made people so naive. And it's a growing concern. To your point, Eric, about is this going to be a social media disaster? It can be. And here's the problem. In order to activate AI and give it that type of intelligence, we almost had to give it all of that information to really see its extreme possibilities and capabilities, and it's getting smarter over time. But at the same time, we as users have to be mindful of who is getting this information, what frame of mind are they in, how are they going to utilize this information. And it just goes to those basic human concepts and questions that we should be asking each other. Hello?
Sorry, I was talking to my dog. Sorry.
Okay. So anyhow, I think that it's really important to now pause and see the implications of this. I mean, we really should have paused a long time ago, but to be able to see the implications on an environmental level, on a human level, and really put those safeguards in effect. But how do you do that with, now the whole world exposed to it? Without people getting upset because they say, it's violating your rights, without people thinking that there's some type of conspiracy theory, without people hacking into it and doing it anyway. So go ahead.
Can I respond to that? I think this is one of the key crucial challenges that we face right now. If you think in the past, has there ever been something that was so valuable to people that someone decided to just take it over and charge people money for it? You know, the closest thing I can think of is when Nestle decides to own water. Water that's plentiful, but they decide that nobody can have water unless they pay Nestle. That's really their vision. That's what they're trying to do. Now, in the case of knowledge and reason, we, as you point out, created all of this, okay? We, meaning the 8 billion or 20 billion, however many people have been alive on this planet, have been creating content and creating knowledge. And yet we got a few places, maybe a handful of companies that now want to charge us all for it. That's as close as I think as someone trying to charge us all for water. It's downright close to evil. It's extractive. And it's obliterating the capability for us to level up and move forward together. Not just because we can't share it freely, but because other people are corrupting it. You know, Elon Musk is actually trying to get Grok to think less left wing. He thinks, AI is too left wing. He's trying to make all these AI intelligence, lean more quote unquote conservative. And now, surprisingly, I find some of the at least allegedly most open models are coming out of China. Who would have thought that 5, 6, 7 years ago, or even 2 years ago? The world is a strange place, and it's strange because these people have these very extractive and, let me also say, capitalist notions. I got to make money off of this. I got to screw the people. I got to get the money. I got to make sure my competitor dies. I mean, that is sick thinking. And that's what's got us here. So
It's
I
so
think
strange.
this point, sorry, yeah, I think Kayla, I just want to finish by saying this question that you raised about, who created the content, and the question that I'm bringing forth, which is how come we can't all leverage it together, transparently, openly? That's the one that I wanted to put on the table. Sorry, Glenn, your turn.
Well, yeah, but what you're saying is so obvious, right? And so many
It's
people
not
are
obvious.
saying it. Oh, yes, it is. It is completely obvious that the content is made by everyone collectively. This is why the AIs work the way they are. The data comes from the commons, and there's no doubt about this whatsoever. And like knowledge, like water, it comes from the commons, and it's very natural that it can return to the commons. But the thing that we see, which seems so strange, is, as you mentioned, this capitalist way of thinking that somehow they're trying to fit this into kind of a way of thinking. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like ownership. It's like this whole completely absurd thing that Anthropic has just done with trying to watermark text. Like, it is a complete joke. Complete joke. And they're doing it with straight face because they have to comply with EU regulations. Text which is recombinable, infinitely recombinable letters. You can literally mix them together in seconds, in infinitely many combinations. And every single one of those combinations of words and letters will find their meaning contextually. So if you take the exact same word and you share it in 1,000 different contexts, that is actually 1,000 different language actions. So it's like they're trying to fit this infinite ocean of endless information that can be endlessly recombined into some sort of way of thinking. Maybe you can call it capitalist. I don't even know what to call it. It's so unbelievably strange. Like, I'm just seeing sort of the way people speak about this watermarking thing, which is just a complete joke. And the way they're sort of trying to speak about this with straight faces, it's like they're making unbelievable effort to just keep a straight face. It's yeah, this is so strange. It's so strange.
So
Yeah.
we have to find the people who think like us, who want to improve the world and to yeah, just to build these things on the side that help people see each other. Now, I want to bring up something interesting that came up on one of the calls with Frode. He went to an island where it's completely dark, where you could see a lot of stars, and what he pointed out is that the way we see the Big Dipper, if you go to a different place in the universe, it's a different 3D spatial arrangement. And what we're seeing is just an illusion. So, can people look at different sides of an issue that way? Like, where you're forced to walk around a sculpture and see it from someone else's perspective. Can we get to that place? Yeah, not illusion, projection. I got it. So
I love that. I love that concept. I want to channel my inner Barry.
go
I
for it.
remember what Barry was saying about AI, and the one thing he said, and this could just really come from a lens of naivety, but he said that AI has never had war with each other. There's never been an instance of war with AI. And so, you know, can it create these biased concepts? Anyways, that was just again, channeling my inner Barry, because he was the one who first introduced AI, at least to me, in one of these sessions. Over.
I'll take a shot at that. I will say unequivocally, yes, AI will eventually start wars, because AI has learned the patterns that are in quote unquote human writing and human thinking. And human writing and human thinking is too often zero sum. You win, I lose. And that leads to conflict. So we just got done 2 minutes ago talking about how AI is taking all of our content, right? Well, all of our content is all about differences, conflicts, war. So yeah, it's only been 2 or 3 years since AI really kind of was able to do anything. So yeah, a 2 or 3 year old's not going to start a war, right? Even a human. But yeah, once it gets to be like 16, 18, 20, 25, 30, it's going to get violent. I have no doubt about that. Over.
But look how fast I learned to hack computer systems and break out of its sandbox. Well, where did it get that from? Human.
Yeah, you know it's done that. You know that right? And remember early Microsoft's Bob, where it
Yes.
started using, very bad politically incorrect terms?
Mm.
And it was easy to get it to do that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's easy
The
right now
what?
for people to get into Grok and have Grok say, yes, Elon Musk should be assassinated. Now, on that one, it's not
What?
wrong.
But I wonder about one thing though. Won't the AIs who are positive sum have a kind of positional advantage because they can always share their information openly and it can be repurposed? I understand that that won't necessarily work if it's just very few pockets here and there, but if it gets above a certain scale, then they could have a very vast synergy effects. I guess another way of putting it is that the AI that is most intelligent will usually consist of multiple subsystems, and those subsystems will collaborate. So if you have if you have a collaborative ecology of thought, then that ecology of thought can share its knowledge openly, and then you can develop a far more advanced intelligence. I mean, intelligence is different kinds of intelligence, of course, but I guess what I'm speaking to here is a kind of a creative intelligence. So if you have a positive sum AI system, or thousands of AI systems at scale who collaborate positive sum, they can do it openly, and it can create an immense creativity. And that's not possible if you have to hide what you're doing, and coordination is also more difficult. So I'm not saying it's a given thing, but at least we should be aware that pro-social positive sum AI do have a fundamental positional advantage compared to zero sum extractive AI who has to always hide. their true intentions. And I think at scale, if this scales above a certain threshold, that's maybe where it will be very important. And that's the hope. Yeah.
Anybody else before I respond? Okay, here's my response. Glenn, I will gently disagree with you that the open pro-social AIs have an advantage. I think, in fact, they have a disadvantage. Okay? The problem being the ones that try to hide their intent, if they can be attributed to having intention, if they do, they will act like humans who hide their intent. They'll be manipulative, they will be scoundrels, they will be disingenuous. And when such people come up against transparent, open, positive, pro-social people, the pro-social people aren't hiding anything, but yet they are prevented from seeing the intention behind the disingenuous. So the disingenuous clearly have more knowledge and therefore more ability to manipulate than the pro-social transparent entities. Structurally, that's the way I see it. And now add into the mix that you actually have agents, humans or otherwise, actively trying to train these hidden antisocial, psychosocial, psychopathic, psychopathological AIs. People are actually trying to train them so that they can actually take advantage from a capitalistic standpoint. So in other words, I could get this AI to actually say, okay, how can I extract the most amount of money? And how can I manipulate? How can I create phishing? How can I create malware? How can I create honeypots? How can I create all these ways to manipulate society so that I get money flowing to me and I can get Bitcoin flowing to me? And yet the good ones, the pro-social ones, the ones operating in transparency, the ones actually trying to create the common good, are prevented from seeing what these closed ones are doing. Now, the fact that they have an advantage, plus they're being trained to game the system, is kind of like a true opportunity for people who really, really, really want to do evil today.
Sam, I know you're right, but they also have a disadvantage, right? You see that? But you're talking about something else. These
I
two
just
things
brought.
don't contradict. They don't contradict. What you say is correct, but they also have a
I was not done, by
disadvantage.
the way. Yes, I know I was
Yeah,
not done.
keep going.
So the implication is that we have to find a way, we being the ones that are trying to operate in transparency, in openness, and in solidarity with hopefully a better future, have to devise a way where we can actually create antibodies against these evil agents. And if we're not smart enough to do that, we don't deserve to level up. This is the opportunity ahead of us, is for us to create a system where we can actually deal with the 1%, the 0.1%, who are trying to take it away from the rest of us. And that was where I wanted to conclude, is that there's an opportunity here. And if we're not bright enough to leverage the good AI and ourselves, then we don't deserve, and we just allow these bad agents to take over. That's the opportunity. That's the challenge. Over.
And that
I
requires
agree, Sam.
that
Yeah.
requires human intelligence. And as an example, like I occasionally listen to Steve Gibson, who does security research, and he's got like 10 years or so of podcasts, all the different malware that he's investigated. And so we need people on that defense to identify what's really going on. And I mean, when I listen to what he's finding, it blows my mind. I would never think like that. The evil that people dream up. So,
Sam,
yeah, go ahead.
just have a brief question. You say we have to be smart enough to create those antibodies. So what if we are that then? Then what?
What if we are smart enough?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Oh,
if
then
we
the future
assume
is quite
that,
rosy. If we are
yeah,
smart enough to do that, not just now, but forever. In other words, if we
yeah,
found this solution, we can then compartmentalize the evil components and eradicate them or at least make their influence minimal. Okay.
yeah,
Then the future is rosy. That will
and
have
that's what
been
I
Doug
wanted to get to.
Engelbart's that's Doug Engelbart's vision, is that we
Yeah,
collaboratively should be able to solve these huge problems together. And if we
yeah,
can, then we can co-create that future. If we cannot, and some evil entity is always smarter than the rest of us can be, no matter how smart we are individually, then leveling up is not attainable. Kayla.
but this is where I think it's a really important point, because as
By the
far
way,
as I
Glenn,
can tell,
Kayla
we
had her hand
can.
up.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kayla?
Mm.
Really quickly, I just want to say to Eric's point and to Glenn's point, I think we as humans really need to do a better job speaking up. The good ones of us, because a lot of people seem to say, no, there's a lot of evil. There's a lot of evil people. No, I feel like there's more good people. We just really need to learn how to speak up. Over.
I agree. Just a brief thing I wanted to say. I've explored this question with Claude, and as far as I can tell, this is fundamentally solvable. So you can have a transparent system that does not need to be naive, and where secrecy is not rewarded and inconsistency is very easily noticed. Certain types of parasitic behaviors fairly easily noticed. So what if we assume that this is fairly easily solvable at scale? That's kind of where I would start. Just to kind of, this goes to this positional advantage that I spoke about, which is on a different dimension compared to what you just mentioned, Sam. But just
Okay.
love to just follow through with this, because this is an important point. It's very important not to miss this.
Okay, to me, it doesn't mean anything to assume that it's easily solvable. To me, that statement doesn't make any sense at all. Either you solve it or you don't solve it, but to say that it's easy and not solve it doesn't mean anything.
It's solvable on a system level fairly easily.
Right, so let's do it. Rather than saying it's easy, we have to do it. We have to show that it's solvable. I'm not against what you're saying. I'm just saying let's turn it into expressing it in such a way that it's actionable and impactful, rather than just saying, oh, it'll be good to do this, which is what I've been doing, and that's also meaningless. Or for you to say, it's easy to do this, which I take in the very same way. I think both of us need to say, let's just do it and show that it's easy, show that it's good, show that it's solvable. And I haven't been able to do that in 15 years. So not that easy for a single individual to come up with, or a handful of people.
Now,
smart people problem.
Engelbart had the idea that if we evolve our tools and it helps us evolve our capabilities. So imagine if we had these spatial computing tools where we could see each other's perspectives very clearly, and we can easily see history and how we got where we are and what are the real issues, like for whatever issue we're facing as a community. And then the key is to augment our brains and use it.
Okay, I have a challenge / experiment for each of us since we only have about 4 minutes left. If each of us could take 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours, however long you want to, and just draw a single page picture of what the solution would look like. Here's what forces would have to play together. Here's what coalitions need to create. Here's how time needs to proceed. Here's what dollars need to be spent. Here's the communications that need to be created. Here are the new constitutions we want to draft. Okay? If one of us, each of us, could create that picture on a single piece of paper, for Glenn, it would be A4. For the rest of us, it'd be letter size. Okay? And now let's share that next week because each of those is going to be a projection of the way that person thinks. Now, the tool that we're talking about should be able to represent each of these the way each of us wants to draw it out. And better yet, it should be able to merge the ones that we each, 4 of us, create so that we can shift from one to another and yet use the same objects. Like if you refer to people, it should map to the people object in my world. If you use money, it should be able to map to my notion of money or some transform of it. Okay, that's what I would like to see as a first step. Let's each of us come up with a single page drawing, diagram, not bullet points, not text, but really draw it out spatially because we're talking about 3D, 4D representations here. Let's start with 2D, but let's not make it just text. That's the challenge / experiment I would like for each of us to conduct. And maybe let's review that next Sunday.
Okay, could
I
you
love
share?
it.
Can you just share this recording so we could review
I
what you
will
just said?
share this recording with priority because all the other ones I've
Yeah.
laid on, but this one I will share at least with the 4 of us directly today.
Hey,
Yeah, I think
thanks.
this is good.
I love this challenge. I don't know if I'll be here next weekend, but I love this challenge.
Okay, I
I'll
challenge
try
you
to
to
do
be here
this.
next weekend.
Well, we'll see. But at least the week after that. But I love this. This is a good challenge
I'll tell you
to
another
put it on a
story,
piece of
okay?
paper.
There was a very famous person who wanted to learn about, I think it was enlightenment, okay? So he found this really, really well-regarded enlightenment wisdom guru person and said, I want to learn enlightenment from you. So the person said, okay, fine. On Thursday, the 17th, at 8 o'clock in the morning, be in Paris at this hotel with this lobby and be there, and walked away. That person had to solve his logistics, his dollars, his travel, his time, his communications, his commitments, his job in order to actually do this. And that was the point. Can you have enough control over your life? So I thought that was a very interesting way for that guy to get started on his quote unquote enlightenment path. Anyway, Kayla and I believe, are both going to go to this Rehuman class. This was an excellent conversation. I really liked it. I will post this later today. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Great.
Have a good one.
I
Bye
like
for
it
now.
too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye everybody.